Shalom, beloved family. This is your girl Sophia Spiritual Light, and we are here for a video that I have been working on in my mind for a week or so. And the Spirit has chastised me tremendously for not putting this video out sooner. So, we're going to talk about the number one secret nobody ever told you about business. And of course, this came up because I was doing their research in that Magi astrology book, and even though there's a lot of seeds in that book that need to be spit out and replanted because it's a bunch of crap. There's a lot in there that you can take and do something else with. So, for example, they were talking about how basically between the start of the century and like the 1950s, there were basically no big businesses started. And I found that to be curious. And I know a lot about these big businesses from other research and how they got their funding, and basically every big business that you see is a lie. Every single one. They literally are not started the way that they started. They're not started with the people that they're started. Most of them are started by the government in one way, shape, or form. And so when you know that all of that is fabricated, when someone points out to you that somehow all of these businesses that you know are fabricated businesses with fabricated individuals running them have this uh, shockingly amazing astrology in their charts, then you know that you have found something that they don't want you to know. And so this is just I'm not using any examples from the book. These are just examples that I come up with, information I came up with to prove a point that the big secret that everyone knows that you don't is that nobody does anything without consulting the stars. They don't move. They do nothing. And so, with them not having any idea with what's going on in the solar system right now, because they're completely oblivious to what is happening, they're down. This is a key point that we can capitalize on to jumpstart things in our community with our people. And we can do that by taking advantage of these planets and the way that you can use them to start your business. So, this particular business is a business that I started with my family, and it has been a tremendous failure. And I will tell you one thing that particularly has made this so, just based on this chart, is that Pluto is in conjunction with Jupiter, which is the little four looking one, and Jupiter is in retrograde. Now, Jupiter in the 10th house is not necessarily a bad thing, but Jupiter is in retrograde and it has a conjunction with Pluto. So, if you haven't listened to any of my other videos about the astrology specifically, Pluto intensifies whatever is attached to it. And so typically, a Pluto Jupiter conjunction would probably be a good thing. But Jupiter is in retrograde when this business is started, and that is actually a terrible thing. So it's going to intensify the retrograde aspects of Jupiter. And so, so here's what Jupiter is. Jupiter is in retrograde for 4 months. And every 13 months it's in retrograde for 4 months. So it's got a, what is that, 17-month cycle. 7 and 1, 17. Anyway, so it says what you should be doing, or what you definitely shouldn't be doing, is making plans but don't yet take big action. Why? Because Jupiter is I'll go back up to that paragraph that I skipped. It says you should spend time learning, meditating, connecting with your inner truth, and journaling about your big ideas, goals, and opportunities that you come across. But do not take big action, meaning that is a bad time when Jupiter is in retrograde to start a business. It would just be a disaster. All right. So the fact that Jupiter is in conjunction with Pluto, as you can see here, it's the enthusiast, but it's the retrograding enthusiast. So it's not even moving forward. It's an enthusiast that's enthusiastic about moving backwards. Okay. Meets the enforcer. So this meeting of enthusiast Jupiter and enforcer Pluto in the old guard Capricorn in November. Oh, this is on a specific day. All right, let's skip ahead over that. This energy represents the expansion and consolidation of resources, particularly by the powers that be. The haves will go to extreme measures to acquire even more, while the have nots fight to defend the interests of their families and communities. Pause. Is that something you want in a business? You are fighting to defend the interests of your family and community? Not really. That's probably not something you want to have in your business. Okay, next. You've seen the impact of these energies both globally or whatever. Let's skip that. The dramatic play will continue for a while longer. This dramatic play will influence the pursuit of emotional and material security. Do you want a business that's focused on that's being negatively influenced by the pursuit of emotional and material security? Um, that sounds really bad. So, obviously, let's go back to this chart. That's not the only bad thing in this chart because this particular sign right here, the last page says your sign will reveal where you go to in extremes to consolidate your powers. So, in this particular chart, the sun is in Pisces, and Pisces I'm not going to go into detail about that, but let's just say that's not necessarily the best placement. If that's going to be if you have your Pluto and Jupiter, that's going to be reflective basically on what your sun is. Pisces are extremely intense and a little bit uh gosh, they're just very highly emotional. Okay, that's a Pisces are highly emotional. They're effective at what they do in a lot of situations, but they're highly emotional, highly fluid. It's a water sign. Do you really want a business that is high? And now this is my business. I'm, I'm only telling you this because this is literally my business. And so I'm sure if I went through each of these aspects, I would see exactly why my business has just been a total and complete disaster because is just I mean if you can look in the middle little circle you see all of the squares that's bad. I mean triangles are good, okay? Squares are bad. It's so many squares and then there's like so many horrible conjunctions that this thing is just and then the midheaven is daggone Cancer, which is another highly emotional water sign. So you mean to tell me I've got the sun sign in a water sign, my midheaven in a highly emotional water sign, and my ascendant is how the business would come off is in Virgo, but at the same time, that's the earth sign can't balance out that much water. That much water will just overtake it because if you look on the other side of the chart where like it says the little purple thing, the the opposite of the ascendant, this descendant is also in Pisces. So this thing was just like I would say doomed and doomed to a slow death because in the second house, you have Saturn, which is going to slow down everything that it's attached to. So it's kind of like anything financial related is in your second house. So it's gonna slow it down. Like it's gonna slow down anything fiscally related. So literally, this is a doom chart. Like this is just totally doomed for failure, a slow failure at that. Inching along until it just literally dies, and that's basically what this business has done. It has inched along until it literally just died of its own foolishness by me for starting it on such a ridiculous date with such ridiculous signs in it. But I had no idea about any of this stuff. I was just trying to do what I thought was right, and they don't tell you this anywhere, but everyone knows it but you. So now you know. All right. Um, okay. So here's another thing about Jupiter and Pluto. Um, so technically, this should have been great because Jupiter and Pluto coming together is the astrological signature of abundance, prosperity, and fortune. Jupiter is the ruler of the heavens and the planet of abundance and expansion. Pluto is the ruler of the underworld and the planet of power and death and rebirth. When these two come together, we are going to see major shifts and changes when it comes to how we view abundance, money, and giving and receiving energy. Pluto brings destruction but and intensity, but Jupiter's heavenly presence ensures whatever is built in its place is brighter, better, and more abundant than before, except if it's in retrograde. Um, things may feel like they're crumbling around us, but as they do, the ashes pave way for a new way to be birthed into existence. This is abundance in action. Nothing is ever lost, it just comes around in another form. And again, like I said, because I have this Saturn here in my second house where the money is. Oh, it came around, but it was super slow. It was super intense, and then it was super gone. Like as soon as it basically arrived, and that's just due to this connection. Because, like I said, Jupiter and Pluto would be just fine if it were in retrograde, if Jupiter weren't in retrograde. So just a few days short of this actually being good, and I'll show you that for sure in a minute. Okay, so this is just general information about retrograde planets. So if you have Jupiter retrograde, which is at the bottom, you experience spiritual expansion internally. You also suffer a cycle of procrastination and self-sabotage. You're a free-spirited, high spiritual incarnate. So guess what that means? Failure. Because if you have spiritual expansion internally, but you don't have any external expansion in your business is going to fail. There's no way your business can be successful if you are only expanding your business from the inside. It's got to expand on the outside. There has to be a physical expansion where you're physically delivering physical products to customers. And I can tell you was literally the most difficult thing that it just never worked. I mean, I cannot go into detail about how difficult it has been to run this business because it has been the worst ever. And no matter what I did, it was just like this thing is not working at all. So all right, so this is just more information about the retrogrades and what they mean and blah 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 and how often. So if you do have planets in retrogrades, this is just something to think about. It's not a guarantee that it's a failure, but it's a guarantee that you're going to fail in whatever area that is related to if you don't know it. So that what you don't know will kill you. So whoever said what you don't know won't kill you, that is not true. What you don't know will kill you. It will kill you. Your business, it will destroy your life, it will make you miserable. Period. Just period. I don't know why people say these silly things. So not only if you haven't seen any of my other astrology videos, not only will a retrograde planet it's not only what the sign is, but it's also the house. So in my example, my business is in the 10th house. So, if you have retrograde planets in the 10th house, it means you feel lost in the world, feel as if the world has no room for them, unsure of who they truly aspire to be, and that trickles down in the business life. So, they tend to be generally indecisive, feel weak or inadequate, have too many ambitions or lack of them, lack of belief in themselves, limit their opportunities with underperformance. Does that sound like a recipe for success with business? I'm being serious because I think that people don't think about this. Like, this literally sounds like something that is literally doomed to fail. If it's in your life, you can um there's things you can do for your life that you can adjust. But when it comes to a business, it's like how do I describe this? Once you set a chart for a business, you can't unset it. You would have to close the business and reopen a new business. And that's enough. If you ever notice that businesses close and then they come back and they have a new name, that's because they reincorporated their business under different astrological conjunctions to try and jumpstart their business. And so all of these big corporations with their changing of their like um, Google being bought out by Alphabet and this kind of stuff. Yeah, it is posturing on the world stage for this, that, and the other, but you can't rule out the idea that they're really just trying to get better astrological signs for their business so that they can make more money. Because if it was me and I thought the planets work like that, like your own personal piggy bank, then yeah, once these planetary once I have Gentiles, once I have worn out these planetary aspects, let me get some new planetary aspects, and then the business will operate under these planetary aspects. And I am can almost guarantee you that's what they do. Again, the number one secret everybody knows but you. So, all right, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so this is specifically about Jupiter in retrograde, the laws and promises that weren't respected, teaching laws and promises that weren't respecting, teachings that weren't followed. So that is bad for business. Like your promises that you made aren't going to be respected, and your teachings that you do aren't going to be followed. If you're no one in your business will listen to you because you're not respected, and no one in your business will follow you because um no one will follow your business, then you have no business. Um you just don't. So, uh, all right. So again, this is just more about the 10th house, which is career status, reputation, vocational purpose, and taking power. That's the 10th house. And so if you have something in the 10th house in retrograde, you are messed up. And again, look, if you look at house two, money, possessions, value, skills, I have Saturn in that house for this business. That basically means that if any money did come, it's going to take forever. And if I didn't learn the lessons of the Jupiter in retrograde, it was just going to be gone. And when I say that's exactly what happened, you will not believe what I tell you, but that's exactly what happened. So there's another aspect to this. So let me just go back. So on my chart here, you see that Jupiter is at 10 degrees. Okay. So let's see what that means. Like I say, when I do these readings, everything on this chart has a meaning. So 10 degrees puts my Jupiter in Capricorn. Okay? So what does that mean? Jupiter in Capricorn, they attract most good fortune when they organize and direct, conduct themselves with integrity, are ethical and mature. They need a step-by-step discipline committed step by step, I'm sorry, I said that twice, approach to realizing their goals. As an earth sign Jupiter, you are a practical realist who needs to visualize in order to feel motivated to achieve them. You're a doer who is not easily lured by get rich quick schemes. You're not very much of a risk taker. You need direction, clear goals, strong plans, and value tangible results. So what's the problem with this? Well, first of all, it says the best times of your year are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So if I was going to have Jupiter in the 10th house, I would want to have started this business when it was in Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. What is this thing in? It's in Pisces, a freaking water sign. And again, the planet is in retrograde. So all those good things they said were possible, just slow those down to a snail's pace because it's in retrograde, means it's going to go backwards before it goes forward. So if the thing ever went forward, which it never it did, but then it didn't, it's because And the integrity part and all of that, that's who I am. So that was all baked in the cake. So all of that would have been just fine, except it's in retrograde. And also, you want the sun to be in an earth sign. Again, the sun was not in an earth sign, it was in a freaking water sign. So not only is my Jupiter going backwards, it's also like swimming in water, which is really bad for Earth sign to be swimming in water. Okay, bad. So, here's some more about Jupiter in retrograde. I'm only making this point because this is just one point on the chart. I could have done this for each individual point and told you why this thing is a disaster. I just saw the most obvious thing was Pluto and Jupiter in retrograde conjunct. I said this is no wonder this thing is a total freaking failure. Like it just is. So, it says here, since Jupiter rules expansion and exaggeration, these regular turning back periods are kind of like self-cleaning oven. They keep things from getting out of hand. Retrograde motion slows down Jupiter's tendency to make things bigger. Retrograde motion slows down Jupiter's tendency to make things bigger. It's an automatic braking system. So think about that. Do you want an automatic braking system on your business? Do you want your business to automatically pump the brakes? Like when you're just starting to get successful, everything falls out underneath you? Because that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, exactly. We were just getting traction and everything just collapsed, like completely collapsed. And that would be Jupiter in retrograde. So here's another example. This chart is very, very similar to the chart for my business, and I'm going to point out a few key differences and that you should recognize almost immediately. So, we're talking about the Marriott Marquise. It was also started in 2014, but they waited until May. May is Taurus. Okay, so already they're in an earth sign. Also, their Jupiter is at 15 degrees and it's direct. Their Jupiter and their Pluto is both conjunct, so we that is still the same. However, if you look, their Pluto is in retrograde. So let me go back. When Pluto is in retrograde, it says collective events that affect the soul and their marks are still present. But does that but again, that particular aspect of the retrograde is not as profound because um the Pluto, you have so many positive things that are kind of overcoming it. So for example, maybe that is let me see, they're on the outer wheel. So like you also have like Mars at 11 degrees, but it's in retrograde, so that would be a little thing. And you have the moon that's also at 11 degrees, so that will form a triangle. Then you have let's see, what else is in that? And you also have the sun at 11 degrees. So because you have the sun and the moon at 11 degrees, that's basically going to cancel out the effects of the retrograde in Pluto and the retrograde in Saturn, which I can see why they would choose this date. Again, you have your Jupiter in the 10th house, great placement. Um, and it's direct for the outer wheel. The outer wheel is the Marriott Marquise and the inner wheel is me. And I just at this time that this particular hotel opened on May 1st, in 2014, and I just picked the startup. Like the first check-in time would probably be around 3 o'clock, but they had to have chosen this on purpose because these things line up quite well. If you look another so they got their Saturn out the way by blocking the conjunction with the sun. They got the Pluto in retrograde out the way by having this Jupiter direct on the top half. And notice they also have their Jupiter and their Pluto in the bottom half. They have more of their stuff. Okay, so the top half of the circle is the stuff that's um public eye, and the private eye is the stuff that's on the bottom. If you notice the inner wheel, my stuff, almost everything is at the bottom. You don't want a business that's done in the private. I mean, I swear, everything I could, every possible mistake that could have been made, except for Jupiter being in the 10th house, was made in picking the dates I did to start this business. And these businesses is only a few months apart. Guess who's doing big business even today? I would say the Marriott Marquise is, and I would say I am not because I'm here making YouTube videos begging for money. So who won and who lost? And that's because I didn't know what they knew. They don't pick these things by random. This is no random selection. This is not possibly random selection. To have Jupiter and your Jupiter, your Sun, and your Jupiter, your moon, and your sun basically in the same degree, that's no that's like your first of all, they got the sun and the moon in the same degree. You couldn't pick, I mean, that's something that you want. Like you want those type of things, those repetitive nature. Look, they even have Mars at 11 degrees. They have their ascendant at 11 degrees. They have um what else is close to 11? They have their Uranus at 11, close to very close to 11. Their midheavens at very close to 11. Like you couldn't pick a better, even their see, because their Pluto is in retrograde, but it's at 13. That's very close to 11. So you got all these other 11s that'll balance it out. Then they have the Saturn that's at 20, but it's balanced out by the fact that it's so close, like across from the sun, which the sun is more powerful in our signs than Uranus. I mean than Saturn. So it's just they really, I mean, this is just an excellent planet placement to start a business. So let's talk about their Jupiter, which is in Gemini. As you can see, it's in Gemini. Mine is also in Gemini. No, mine theirs is in Cancer. Why I say Gemini? Their Jupiter is in Cancer. I'm sorry, I'm gonna skip that. Here's their chart by itself. Um, and like I said, as you can see, they've got the sun, they've got the moon, um those are conjunct in the same degree as Mars, so that will negate any aggression, but the aggression is in the house of good fortune, so they can be aggressive with their money, making money, aggressively make money. Then in their third house, let's go back to that other chart about what the houses are. Okay, so in their third house, that's mental activity, learning. They got Saturn in a house that doesn't even affect their business. They have, I mean, this is fantastic. They got Mars in a house that would affect their money, and it's in retrograde, so they're using the planets to be aggressive about their money. They've got Pluto in the fifth house, which doesn't really affect their business. Again, fifth house is romance, children, fun, creativity. That doesn't affect the hotel business. They don't care about that. So it's in a place that doesn't even affect their business. I mean, and most of their planets are on the top end. Only thing that's in retrograde on the top is the north and south node, which really doesn't affect their business. Maybe it does in some internal way, but not really. So these are all excellent, excellent placements. Okay, so the Pluto retrograde, this is just back to the chart talking a little bit about that. The Pluto retrograde calls for transparency, elimination, and release of all things outworn, unreal, obsolete, and overused. Regeneration occurs from within. Would you want regeneration to occur from within your business? Absolutely. It's a type of psychological change when we travel backwards in time, repeating events to get them right. Would you want to in your business be able to repeat events and get them right? Absolutely. Pluto encourages growth, makes life richer and solid. For 6 months, we ponder upon these things and then finally embrace our potential and not the past. Then it's over. The changes we encounter with Pluto retro will be permanent. So if you permanently embed transparency, release from things outworn, obsolete, overused things within your business, wouldn't that be good for your business? I mean, this is not rocket science. It'd be great for your business. So, amongst all the other things that I already discussed, right? So here's the information for this current business that I have, Fruits of the Spiritual Light. where I have all my little stuff on the website. So this was the very first day I used that branding. And now again, this is before I knew all of this stuff that I know now. I just wanted to see if I needed to hurry and incorporate my business on a different day, or if things were pretty good. So here's first and foremost, you can see almost everything is on the top half. Almost everything. I mean, almost everything in my business is out in public. That is a good sign. Now, even though the Pluto, look, I have Pluto in retrograde, so I'll be able to take advantage of this, um, regeneration that occurs from within. I'll be able to take advantage of that within my business. The Saturn is in retrograde. Let me see. Uh, yeah, here we go. You're repeating a lifetime. This is an opportunity to perfect the life you have chosen. You know what that means in your business? This is an opportunity to perfect your business. I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want that in a business. You want that. Um, let's see what else. Okay, we have Jupiter. It's still in the 10th house. So again, but now it's direct. And it's at 5 degrees. I'll discuss that in 1 second. But it's in Aries, which is not in a which is not great, except the sun. Oh, the sun is not even in the right degree. It's not in a earth sign. The sun is in Gemini. So it's not it's not perfect because the sun is in Gemini. I should have waited until the sun was in Virgo. So I still have time to contemplate if I'm going to actually incorporate my business on a different day, or if I'm going to leave this particular placement. I like the fact that the Pluto is in retrograde, and that the Jupiter is direct and it's at 5 degrees. And I like a lot of things on this chart, but the fact that the Jupiter and the Sun are not quite aligned, I have to just look and see um um if there's any days like that in Virgo. And but anyway, that's the kind of stuff that you would do. I can do for you, I can do with you. We can look at it together. That's what this is all getting to. But I just wanted to present this information so that you could do it on your own. Like, this is not, it's you still have to use the spirit. You still have to, speak with the angels and all of that. I'm just pointing out that these technical things that you could physically look at with your eyes and see. But so far, almost everything in this chart is like amazing. Your Uranus is in the 11th house. That's good. Venus, all these are good placements because they're all on the top half. You know what I mean? So let's look at Aries and Jupiter. So that's what that means. The little four symbol has a little oh, I don't know, hook symbol underneath it. That's Aries, okay? So Jupiter in Aries attracts good fortune when they inspire others or take a position of leadership. They have talent to attract many things at a young age. They are the model of courage and enthusiasm. They do well when they can make new innovation. Their lust for life drives them to go after what they desire. They see everything as an open door to opportunity. Are these things you would not want in a business? They are not adverse to using a bit of aggression to get their opportunity. Tolerance, generosity, and opportunism is part of their profile. Isn't that what you need to have a successful business? They have such faith in themselves that they are not afraid to jump towards their goals. That's exactly what you want in a business. They can be larger in life and a bit of a daredevil. You have to take chances in business. So this is a great business placement. So this is Jupiter and Leo. Why did I say that? I think it's because this Jupiter is not in Leo. This must have been about something else. Hold on. No, Jupiter is not in Leo down here. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Oh, is that the degrees? Oh, okay. So the 5 degrees is Leo. I'm sorry. I forgot. I said there's a reason I did all this. So look, if you look down here, 5 degrees is Leo, okay? That's on this chart. It's in the Leo position. So what is Jupiter in Leo? All of these make a difference. Okay. Of the two social planets, Jupiter rules idealism, optimism, and expansion. It's also very philosophical. Your Jupiter is in Leo, meaning you grow and find understanding through magnanimity, inspiring confidence, thinking big, and feeling good about yourself. So it's in your fifth house, meaning you find success through romance, self expression, creativity, and pleasure. That is exactly what I would want in my business. Now, everybody has their own thing, but yeah, I want to have success through creativity, through self expression, through having fun making these videos, even though they're terrifying. I still want to have fun like that in my business. So, guess what? That is exactly the type of placement you would want. So Jupiter in the 10th house, we already talked about this, I think. But let's look at this again from the position of this is a good thing. So, Jupiter, because it's direct, Jupiter in the 10th house represents positive and fortuitous prospects in the realm of career and reputation. People with this placement are likely to attract good luck and karma throughout their professional journey. Do you want success in your business throughout the lifespan of your business? Okay. Jupiter brings abundance, good cheer, and optimism that can help an individual go far up the ladder of success. Do you want your business to go far up the ladder of success? Okay. Higher education and academic accomplishments are likely to be a significant factor in their success. In the public eye, people with displacement are bound to garner a mostly positive reputation and an image of trustworthiness, benevolence, and open mindedness. Is this not what you want in a business? There's general trust and high regard for their capacity as an authority in their field. For me, I want to be an authority in my field. I want to set it direct, especially this astrology stuff and how we can use it. So that's Jupiter in house 10. So before I talk about the service that I can do, because I already been doing the service. So now you see, everybody knows that every big business knows this information but you, right? And so, what do you want to do with that? I I suggest first and foremost, if you have a business, if you're looking to start a business, you can on your own take a look at what exactly you want to do in your business and how you want to how you want your business to operate, what your actual um business is going to be, and then figure out which planets correlate with that. And then once you know kind of what planets correlate with the kind of business that you want, then you can look at what placements would be beneficial for that business. So, what house they should be in, what rules, what is a good placement, all of that. Then once you figure out what house would rule the aspect of your business that you find to be the most successful, you can take that information and then uh look at use whatever astrology software you use, that may or may not be accurate, but whatever, use whatever astrology software you have access to and figure out what would be the best day to start this business. Now, again, I don't ever suggest um waiting until a particular day to start working on your business, because before you start it, you want to already have some momentum. So it's just really about when you start, when you make your either when you do your incorporation or when you do even a soft launch, that can be a new event for your business. So me, like I said, I picked a date where I decided to do my rebrand, because me, this is how I usually operate when I was with my own business stuff. I will do everything at one time. Once I've made my decision, this is what I'm going to do. I'll think about it, map it out, plan it out, and then once I've made the decision that I'm going to do something, I do everything at one time. In one day, I rebrand. Usually do my logo, all of that stuff, all of my rebranding, whatever it is, emails, websites, everything, all on one day, because I that's just how I am. I want to codify it all together. So that's how I know that it was on this date, because that's the date that I started again, creating stuff and changing stuff and whatnot or whatever, So again, this is something you can absolutely do yourself. I am absolutely not saying you have to use me or anything like that. I just want to get that out because I am on the internet begging for money, because this is my life. I just showed y'all my first business. I mean, that wasn't even my first business. That was like my 15th business because I've just done a lot of businesses. And so, um, I just want to say that because I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking advantage of this fantastic uh planet placement I have with this project process or whatever that I'm doing now, to take advantage of anybody, because that is not the case. I'm telling you how you can do this yourself. Obviously, you can also talk to the angels, let the angels tell you the information too. There's lots of ways you can get this. You do not have to be in any way, shape, or form. And you know what? My sun and my moon are conjunct in this business too. Golly, even if, man, that is shocking. I mean, oh goodness. Anyway, so the long story short is you can absolutely figure this out on your own. You can follow the spirit. The spirit will tell you what to do. This is how I got this particular date. It was very, very heavy on me to get started on this particular date, and I had procrastinated. I can't even tell you, weeks and weeks and weeks. And then on this day, it was like, okay, now it's time to go. And I just did. And I can see now why the spirit said to go on this date. So that is to say, you can get this information through the spirit. You do not have to get this information from me. However, do provide this kind of um, stuff as a service. And before I was doing it with the astrological, I was doing it with straight business models, right? Because a lot of people have they have ideas for businesses and stuff like that, but they don't have an actual model of how they want to put flow customers through their business, and they don't have a capture point for their customers. So, like, as you can tell, my capture point is videos. I've done a lot of business before, and my capture points have always been different. I've done social media capture points, I've done physical location capture points, I've done person to person capture points. There's a lot of different places you can capture your customers. However, it is very difficult to figure out how you want those customers to move through your business once you capture them. And it's not just about customer retention, it's about the actual physical process of, okay, when a customer places an order, then what? Like, what happens next? Um, you don't, it's the whole business modeling in general is more than just thinking about it on a piece of paper. It's really like going through the process yourself, picking out the points, and and in basically enforcing those points, right? So, that's my particular background. My particular area of expertise is business model consulting, developing business models. Okay, so I have now decided that I'm going to add this astrological um, consultation aspect, because I think that part of it is so important that everyone knows it but you. And nobody would ever tell you that. But I literally just showed you two businesses started almost very close to the same time. One still a success, one a total failure, complete and total failure. And that is not like, who wants to get on the internet and tell you that their business totally and completely failed. I will tell you because I'm looking at my chart for that business and seeing, holy smokes, what a train wreck this thing was from the beginning. From just the inception, just a total train wreck. And it has been a total train wreck for the entirety that has been started, a complete and total train wreck. And so, if you would like to avoid these train wrecks, I am, like I said, offering the service. It's the same price as my UT reading, and it's basically similar to a UT but for business. We won't necessarily go into, I will always pull out the cards and see what messages I can purvey that it's helpful to see a picture for. But I don't, when it comes to this business stuff, I don't need to see the cards to know what the angels are saying, because I've been listening to them for so long in relations to business that I that is this more so my wheelhouse. Like, I'm working on an advanced degree in business. I have done a bajillion businesses. That one in particular, I could never figure out why it was just such a miserable failure. And now, once I realized that that was literally the problem, I said, I have got to tell people this is what it is. Like all this secret stuff. I was all the way into all of that stuff, the secret and all these motivational books and tapes and everything else. And the one thing they all knew, even my beloved Jim Rohn, the one thing they all knew and didn't tell you is that it doesn't matter when what business you do. If you started on a date where the planets are going to be influencing your business poorly, your business will fail. It's doomed to fail. They know it. Especially these network marketing companies. They know it. Your business is doomed to fail if you don't start on the right date. It just is. And that's the fact that they know it and they didn't tell you. Um, I was gonna pay $10,000 for this lady's course. She wouldn't have told me this. But I know she knew it because she had all of her events on very specific days. Is very, very specific. So it's literally a big club and you ain't in it. But you could tap into it now. Again, like I said, it's not hard to no, it's not impossible for you to do this on your own at all. You have the information. You can go back and rewatch this video. I said a lot really fast, but you will get the point. You will get the point where you can start researching. There's more than enough information I have given out in this video for you to start researching on your own. However, if that is not something that you're able to do on your own, I do offer this. I will offer this as a service. I haven't done this for another business as of the time of this recording. I'm doing it for my own business, and I already see the difference between my other business and this business. It's got a very different feel to it. It's got a very different vibe. um, People are responding to what I'm doing a lot differently than I would expect. Even when I go out and do events, I'm getting different responses than I have ever gotten in my other business. And so I do have a little bit of like PTSD from my last business because it was such a total and complete failure. But the angels are helping with that, and I definitely feel a lot stronger about moving forward knowing this, my business is much better alignment um than what I thought. So you can do this with any business. If you want to check my work, go ahead and find a major big business that you think is a big business and look at the day that they said that they started. Even if it wasn't the day that they incorporated, look at the day that they said that they say that they started, and you will see immediately that they knew. This stuff is just not by accident. They knew what they were doing, and um, it just is what it is. So, um, you know, this will be on the website. I'll have a link in the description or whatever. But, let's use this information to to take back the kingdom and to literally rip their blessings from them. Since they won't do what the Father wants and give it up willingly, it's time for us to do some surgical ripping. And one way we can surgically rip is to literally align our businesses the same way that they do and use the same skills and the same techniques, except with righteousness, which is what we will do as we proceed on our path to take back the kingdom. So, all praises and all glory go to the Most High, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Acknowledge the Holy Mother for everything she does and being here with me always. Of course, we acknowledge Yahweh Shai, our elder, wiser brother, for being the perfect example. All the angels who have come in here, you're invited to go in peace. My beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace. And always, always, always remember the Most High is your peace. Shalom, everyone.